Are the Arizona Cardinals already one of the most disrespected teams in the NFL? At this point, the Arizona Cardinals, on paper, are a top 15 team. If they perform like that, is neither here nor there. We have questions about Kyler Murray. We have questions about Drew Petzing. Those two guys need to perform.
I still am a fan of Kyler Murray, right? You still got a guy that's special there in Arizona. Is it perfect? No, but I mean, there's only like 4 perfect guys in football right now. Lamar, Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow, right? They kind of stand alone. But like Kyler Murray, when he's on his game, right, he can reach levels that get up there. And I like everything that's going on in Arizona right now.
In pursuit of their second winning season in the past 10 years, the Arizona Cardinals have flown under the radar as one of the most intriguing teams in the NFL. After a 2024 campaign that really wasn't bad enough to trigger a rebuild, or good enough to suggest that they're only 1 or 2 pieces away from a Super Bowl, the Cardinals front office has taken a page out of Philadelphia's book and locked down their defensive stars as soon as possible, and above all else, build out the trenches. They've thoroughly evaluated their strengths and weaknesses to build for sustained success, which could be arriving sooner than anyone has anticipated. And for the first time in a long time, the Arizona Cardinals seem to know exactly what they're doing. Now, yes, while 2024 didn't go exactly entirely correct in Phoenix, it definitely was a step in the right direction for the Cardinals franchise. Going back to 2022 when Kyler Murray tore his ACL back in week 14, which kept him out of the beginning of the 2023 season as well, and the team went 1-8 in his absence and only won 2 games with him on the field under the new head coach in Jonathan Gannon. And truthfully, back-to-back 4-13 seasons largely were due just to Kyler Murray's absence. So heading into 2024, that really only meant things could go up from there. The Cardinals were able to double their win total in year 2 in the Gannon era, which coincided with year 2 of Monty Ossenfort's reign as general manager. And yes, while the team wasn't absolutely flying in 2024, an 8-9 record was certainly respectable, especially in a division as tough as the NFC West. And we are going to touch on this in a minute, but I mean, really, the team's offseason, they didn't add a lot of pieces on the offensive side of the ball, so they're expecting a lot out of Kyler Murray this year and expecting him to just have a much bigger step forward in his game, which is why they didn't go as hard on the offensive side of the ball. The biggest story for the Cardinals still, though, was the extension of Trey McBride, one of the league's finest receiving tight ends, as McBride has been Arizona's top pass catcher in back-to-back seasons, finishing 2024 with 1,146 receiving yards, second amongst all tight ends in the league. This performance made him the Cardinals' only offensive Pro Bowler and consequently the highest paid tight end in the league when he agreed to a 4-year, $76 million extension. Elsewhere on the offense, the Cardinals did extend running back James Conner during the season on a 2-year, $19 million deal, and Conner has enjoyed back-to-back career seasons in Arizona as he's been the team's leading rusher ever since he did step foot in Phoenix. With Conner and McBride locked down for years to come, the Cardinals don't have to stress about the future of their most productive skill players. These guys are 2 of Kyler's most crucial weapons, and they're not going anywhere, as Ossenfort and his entire front office are taking care of business early, making sure not to panic or misdiagnose the issue, and take a larger than necessary swing in free agency or the draft. And I mean, even with these moves too, it's clear to see that Arizona is sticking with the guys that they already have in the building. And what kind of becomes even more compelling too is when we take a look at the wide receiver room, they're kind of taking a similar approach. Michael Wilson was a solid wide receiver 2 in 2024, not improving too much on what was a solid rookie year campaign in years prior. Greg Dortch is the wide receiver 3 and hasn't really blown anyone away across his 4-year career as a Cardinal. It's safe to say that Wilson nor Dortch will be getting the treatment enjoyed by Trey McBride and James Conner. Instead, the weight of the wide receivers room last season sat squarely on a rookie's shoulders. Marvin Harrison Jr. was one of the best wide receiver prospects of all time coming out of Ohio State. As the son of a Hall of Famer, expectations are nothing new to him. In college, Harrison had back-to-back seasons of 1,200 plus receiving yards with 14 touchdowns, making him a 2-time All-American as well as a Heisman finalist in 2020 2023. And as we all know, in 2024, Arizona used their 4th overall pick on him, making Harrison the first wide receiver and the first non-quarterback taken on that night. Truthfully, the Cardinals really haven't had a true wide receiver 1 since the departure of DeAndre Hopkins, and a healed-up Kyler Murray would be primed to unleash the blue-chip rookie wideout come September. But that's the thing though, the pair kind of failed to live up to that monumental hype everybody was hoping to see out of them coming into last season. And I'm not really trying to knock on them either, because truly, when they were clicking, the Cardinals offense was absolutely breathtaking. Like, if we flash back to a week 2 beatdown of the Rams, it was perfect evidence of this too. Marvin Harrison Jr. looked every bit the generational player he had been billed as. Beyond that game, however, though, Marv only broke the 100-yard receiving mark in one other game on the season, finishing the year with 885 yards on 62 receptions, tying the rookie record for receiving touchdowns with 8. It's not a terrible return whatsoever. I mean, he led all Cardinal wide receivers in every category, but expectations were higher for him coming into the season, and he was outperformed by fellow rookies Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., and Ladd McConkey. Harrison scored in 7 games, but struggled to really get separation against these NFL cornerbacks, and his high profile coming into the league cost him dearly as opposing defenses schemed around his strengths, which manifested in him effectively being shut out of games on multiple occasions. This offseason though, Marvin has visibly bulked up though, especially admitting to himself that he's put on a few pounds, and the added physicality should help him with the separation issue while he looks to assert himself as one of the league's top wide receivers. But that's the thing, a lot of that isn't up to him. In fact, the team's offensive output really comes down to one man alone, Kyler Murray. He's now entering year 7 without a playoff win, which is one of the many reasons that many fans feel that he's failed to live up to the hype as a former first overall pick. Like, I mean, the talent, it's evidently there, and it would only be harsh to blame him for the injury issues in 2022 and 2023. But questions around his work ethic following his leaked contract just a few seasons ago did raise some red flags that Murray hasn't been able to shake. And that's probably the most frustrating just part of his game too, is just how inconsistent he is as a quarterback. Like, ever since he has returned to health, you really just don't know which Kyler Murray you're going to get on a Sunday. Are you going to get the guy that's going to run around like a little kid with a bag of candy in his hands and not know where to throw the ball? Or are you going to get the guy that's going to zip the ball on time to the guy that he needs to get the ball to? Like, I mean, at his best, he looks absolutely unstoppable, a tantalizing playmaker in and out of structure, on the ground and through the air. But at his worst, he lives up to the meme of looking like, well, like I said, a helpless toddler, flustered, caught in paralyzing indecision. And when the moment gets too big, Kyler seems to shrink even smaller. But that's the thing though, in his defense, there really hasn't been any stability at the coaching position in Arizona while he's been there. Like, he's had 3 head coaches with wildly different approaches to the game, which has limited his ability to grow. In Cliff Kingsbury's offense, Kyler Murray flourished in his first few seasons in the NFL, mostly taking snaps out of the shotgun. Under Jonathan Gannon's stewardship, offensive coordinator Drew Petzing wanted him to take snaps under center, which isn't inherently an issue. It only became problematic when Petzing's offensive play calling went stale and became painfully predictable for opposing defenses in 2023 and 2024. Like, the idea was to create quote-unquote conflict for the opposition, making it tougher to guess what kind of plays the Cardinals would run thanks to Kyler's versatility, and instead, Petzing had to rely so heavily on the rushing attack that Arizona had effectively just completely neglected the passing game. And yes, while that mostly can be blamed on the play calling and just really it's the lack of faith that they have in Kyler Murray to complete the passes, go through his progressions, and hit the wide open guys that are there, and it's really made the Cardinals offense just so predictable. Like, truthfully, without a legitimate deep threat, the Arizona Cardinals offense has just kind of become one-dimensional. Like, outside of short completions to McBride or Connor, the chemistry hasn't been there between Kyler and his wideouts, especially Marvin Harrison Jr., to the point where the quarterback refused to take risks downfield. Harrison had the highest average depth of target on the roster, yet the second lowest receiving success among wideouts. So now with the problem pretty much figured out and just seeing that it's a clear disconnect on the offensive side of the ball, the question we now have to answer is, well, how does Arizona go about fixing this? And I'm sorry, because it's probably not the fun answer you want to hear, but time. Last year was Kyler Murray's first full season with Jonathan Gannon's coaching staff. Not only was the fact that he remained healthy and available for all 17 games a huge plus, but having more in-game reps with this offense can only benefit Kyler in the long run. Last year, he had no veteran wide receivers to throw to, which likely affected his fluidity in the passing game. That perceived lack of confidence in his wide receivers made his decision-making under pressure even worse. And that's not to mention the fact that Murray was clearly prioritizing his health at various points in the season, avoiding hits at all costs, often when it came at the expense of standing in the pocket and moving the chains. But that's the thing, 2025 I think is going to be a little bit different. Kyler Murray has said this is the best he's ever felt heading into a season, acknowledging that he needs to run more than he did in 2024, which should go a long way in diversifying this offense. Another offseason with the young wide receiver core also will only work in the Cardinals' favor, and Arizona also has a very underrated offensive line, which Kyler can help out by getting rid of the ball much quicker. According to Pro Football Network, the Cardinals quarterback held onto the ball when being blitzed the 7th most out of any NFL quarterback, something which will be resolved by his improved level of comfort in Petzing's system. Although the line did lose Will Hernandez in free agency, the re-signing of veteran right tackle Kelvin Beachum and left guard Evan Brown should help the unit maintain its high level of performance in 2025. That's not even mentioning Jonah Williams, who had a fantastic debut season in Arizona, and Paris Johnson Jr., who had a huge leap in year 2 once he was moved to left tackle. Like, as we look at it right now, Arizona has all the pieces needed to have an explosive and just potent offense this year. And add in the fact, too, that this offense has had more time to gel together and kind of become one unit, they are due for a massive 2025, hopefully. What will take this team over the edge and potentially even into playoff football will be able to have some hopefully complementary football that has not been seen in Arizona in quite some time. Arizona's defense outperformed relative to any expectations that most people had coming into 2024, and now in the offseason too, that's pretty much where all their attention has gone to that side of the ball to improve it, and also, like I said, complement the offense. In free agency, the Cardinals splashed the cash on edge rusher Josh Sweat from the Eagles, dropping $76 million over 4 years to secure the Super Bowl champion services. Sweat enjoyed his best years with Jonathan Gannon as defensive coordinator in Philly, and will add plenty of sacks and pressures to this defense. So will veteran Calais Campbell, who won't be quite as impressive on the stat sheet as Sweat, but his leadership should help guide a new-look defensive front in Arizona. Dalvin Tomlinson is joining from Cleveland too for $29 million over 2 years, adding some size and production to the interior of the Cardinals' defensive line. But that's the thing, it's not just in free agency where they've prioritized defense, as a majority of their draft picks were targeted towards improving the unit as a whole. With their 16th pick overall in the first round, Arizona took D-tackle Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss. Nolan was an All-American in 2024 and will no doubt be a disruptive presence in the trenches when he gets up to NFL speed. Thankfully, he has plenty of veterans around him in Tomlinson and Campbell who can mentor the young star and help him reach out for his insanely high ceiling. Arizona also then I think got one of the steals of the draft, strengthening the secondary with Will Johnson out of Michigan in the middle of the second round. In terms of talent, the Wolverine was absolutely, I had him pegged as a first rounder, but there were injury concerns which did see him fall on most teams' boards, so I don't blame him for falling to the second. But not only will he be learning under one of the league's best DBs in Budda Baker, but Johnson's potential is such that he could easily become the top corner on this roster, superseding the current cornerback one in Garrett Williams. In rounds 3 through 5, the Cardinals stuck to the defensive side as well, adding edge rusher Jordan Birch and inside linebacker Cody Simon and corner Denzel Burke. Over the course of this offseason, the floor for the Cardinals defense has been raised significantly. Defensive coordinator Nick Riles has a lot of talent to work with in 2025, which he will need in a constantly evolving NFC West. With a defense that looks a hell of a lot scarier than it has in a while, and an offense that's finding a groove after the first full season together, the Arizona Cardinals will be a team to look out for in 2025. They're no longer short on talent and have quietly built out a very competitive roster. If the Murray-Harrison partnership can truly get going in year 2, Arizona has the potential to terrorize their opposition with a diversified offense to go with a stout all-around defense thanks to an offseason of calculated change. They most certainly should improve on their 8 wins in 2024 with the 5th easiest schedule in the upcoming season, meaning Cardinal fans can once again dream of playoff football. And we are back for overtime. If you made it here, make sure you comment overtime because, well, first things first, you're a certified ball knower. And if you're not a certified ball knower, you wouldn't be at this part of the channel. So you're a certified ball knower, so I appreciate you being here in overtime with your boy KRICH Productions. But let's hop into it. We're talking about the Arizona Cardinals. Whoa, that sounded so weird. The Arizona Cardinals. There we go. Said it. Very near and dear to my heart because, well, born and raised in Arizona, not a Cardinals fan. I'm a Saints fan, actually, because of Reggie Bush being the running back GOAT. But, you know, I can go to Cardinal games whenever I want. My brother is a diehard Cardinals fan. Also, the 2008 season I will never forget because, well, that was one of the greatest football playoff runs we've ever seen with Larry Fitzgerald and not Kyler Murray, Kurt Warner. And yeah, but anyways, I wanted to hop into the video because, well, into the post comment section, I guess we should have the discussion down there. Is first of all, let me know your record predictions for the Cardinals. Personally, for me, I'm going to go with another 9-8 season. I think they're going to get 9 wins. I don't think they're going to be crazy good. I want the Cardinals to be good, but I don't want them to be bad is the thing. I don't think they're going to be bad, but also I don't think they're going to be great either. I think they're just going to be a middle of the pack road. And I think truthfully, this is the last year actually of Kyler Murray being the quarterback for the Cardinals. I think they're going to move on from him if they can't somehow get to the playoffs or anything like that, especially with just all the things they have going on. And all the weapons too. I know that Kyler Murray is kind of that middle of the pack. He can get you to the playoffs, but he hasn't won a playoff game. He's kind of reminding me of Justin Herbert, even though Herbert obviously is definitely a better quarterback than Kyler Murray, but neither of them have won a playoff game. So it's like, how good are they really, you know? And I'm sure that's going to get some hate in the comments because a lot of you guys, you know, think that Justin Herbert is like this some elite quarterback or whatever, and he's good, but he's definitely better than Kyler, but I don't know. He hasn't won a playoff game. That's a whole different video that we're going to be doing soon too. But anyways, I think that right now, just looking at this team, it's the most aligned that they've been heading into a season. You know, Jonathan Gannon and Drew Petzing are finally on the same page, and Kyler had a full season under his belt with no injuries, which is a big thing too. So it's going to help him coming into the season too to be able to play with that roster and build the camaraderie with all of his offensive linemen, running backs, wide receivers, all that stuff for another season. So hopefully that will help him, you know. One of the big things too that they did this past offseason too is they upgraded their defense. Their defense wasn't like anything crazy, but their defense wasn't anything crazy in a good way either. You know, their defense wasn't bad or good, you know. I'm reading off my notes right now, and it says after ranking 21st through 29th across key metrics in 2024. So, I mean, definitely not great. The Cardinals aggressively added, and we went over it in the video, Dalvin Tomlinson, Josh Sweat, Calais Campbell, and Walter Nolan in the draft. Obviously, Calais Campbell, I don't think he's going to be an every down kind of guy. I mean, the dude's in his 19th season now, 18th season. So I think he's more of a role model for these guys to help them show the ropes. And then he's going to retire a Cardinal probably. But I think that will help. I personally think for me, their biggest steal was getting Will Johnson in the second round. I think that guy, if he can rehab and come back strong like he did in Michigan, that dude is going to be a force to be reckoned with and is going to be the number one cornerback for this team, barring any setbacks with his ACL or anything like that. I think that dude is a stud, and I really wanted the Saints to get him, but he fell completely out of the first round because of that ACL injury he had, which is, you know, I totally understand it. Those ACL injuries, especially as a cornerback, they take you from like a 22-year-old and they age you to like 25. So we'll see what happens with him. But I mean, flipping to the offensive side of the ball, they have such a strong core on the offense. Again, I think the biggest problem is that they don't have a deep threat. They need to go out there in this free agency period right now, or before the season begins, I should say, and they need to try and find a deep threat kind of guy to spread the field, or to stretch the field, I should say, because Marv is your go-to guy. Everybody knows who's getting the ball when you throw the ball. Not Michael Wilson. I guess you have Trey McBride, yes, who's a crazy good tight end, but they don't have another wide receiver to split outside of Marvin Harrison, so they need to try and find another guy. If you can, in the comments, let me know some wide receivers that are still in the market. I think there's why can I not think of him? Me and my brother were just talking about him the other day, and I can't think about it. I forgot who it was, but I know there's like a couple like veteran wide receivers that are still in the market. Let me know in the comments again, and really what they can do. But also another big factor is that they have the 5th easiest schedule, as I said at the end of the video. They have the 5th easiest schedule in the NFL. So right now, I mean, they start against the Saints. I looked at tickets for that game for like, I think end zone seats, it's like $100. That's how bad the Saints are. Like, their schedule is so easy. They play, what is it right here? I got it on front of me. Where is it? They post the bye. Okay, so after the bye, they have a good stretch of games that are very winnable, but they also play the Saints, Panthers, and Cowboys Monday Night Football and are in prime time, and it just offers them a lot of chances to keep building momentum if they can win some games. Like, I'm going to actually pull up their schedule right now. I want the full schedule. I only have part of it right here. Arizona Cardinals schedule. Okay, so week 1, I know they play the Saints. So they play the Saints, Panthers, 49ers, Seahawks, Titans, Colts, Packers, and then after the bye. So week 8 is their bye. So before the bye, they're probably going to they'll beat the Saints, they'll beat the Panthers. That's in San Francisco. They'll probably lose to the Niners, beat the Seahawks, so they're 3-1 right now. Beat the Titans 4-1, beat the Colts 5-1, lose to the Packers 5-2. They have a chance to be 5-2 before the bye week. Obviously, that's barring, the NFC West games. Who knows? Those games are always crazy. They could beat the 49ers and lose to the Seahawks, or they could just outright lose both of them, or they could win both of them. But my point is that they can be 5-2 before the bye week. Then after the bye week, they play at the Cowboys on Monday night, Seahawks, Niners again, Jaguars, Bucks, Rams, Texans, Atlanta, Cincy, Rams to close the season. So after their bye, let's go through it. I don't like the Cowboys, so I'm going to say they beat the Cowboys. They beat the Seahawks again. They lose to the 49ers. They beat the Jaguars. So we're at 5, 6, 7, 8. So they're 8-3. 8-3. Beat the Bucks, 9-3. Lose to the Rams, 9-4. Lose to the Texans, 9-5. Beat the Falcons, 10-5. Lose to Cincinnati, 10-6. Let's say they lose both games to the Rams. They're 10-7. That might be good enough to get into the playoffs again. I mean, who knows? The NFC is a little bit crazier this year, but I mean, they could easily be 10-7 by the end of this season and, have a good season. So I think their schedule is very winnable. All in all, though, I mean, a lot of people like from The Athletic and Sports Illustrated are expecting a rebound of the Cardinals this year. And I truly am too. They were one of my picks as like a sleeper team last year. And I can see them being another sleeper team this year across the NFL. I mean, right now there's a poll on the Athletic or something, and it's like 63% of fans are excited to watch the Cardinals this year, which is actually pretty cool too. But again, it's going to all come down to Kyler Murray. Is Kyler Murray going to be inconsistent, or is he going to be able to string a solid amount of games together, play well, and win those games too? Because that's really what has kind of held them back, is just Kyler Murray at the end of the day. So truthfully, that's kind of why I think it. Again, he's going to have an improved rushing role. He's healthy, and he's going to hopefully stay healthy this year, and he's going to build on it. He's going to have some more weapons on the offensive side of the ball. Him and Marvin Harrison Jr., they got to get him the ball. So I think truthfully, those are going to be the things, especially with McBride there too. If they can get those two guys the ball a lot, like they got McBride the ball last year, I think it's going to be a big year for the Cardinals possibly. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think is going to happen with the Cardinals. Can they win the NFC West? That might be a little bit of a stretch, but who knows? They might be able to pull it out of there. You know what? So maybe they win the NFC West, but give me a record prediction down below. If you are a Cardinals fan, throw in overtime in the comment section. And as always, I will catch y'all in the next one.